Like most guitar players, I started out playing at the end of the guitar, and I would occasionally move up to 4th, maybe 5th fret for a bar chord. When I did finally learn the rest of the fretboard, it really opened up a whole world of possibilities for me as far as playing. I'm going to show you the fretboard up to the 12th fret, and then in the next video, I'm going to show you 3 memory exercises to really help you get to know the neck. Here are all the natural notes on the fretboard. And the natural notes would correspond with, say, the white keys on the piano. This is a lot to take in at once, so we're going to break it down string by string, starting with the first string. So here are the notes on the first string. We have an open E, F is on 1st fret, G 3rd fret, A 5th fret, B 7th fret, C 8th fret, D 10th fret, and then another E at the 12th fret. And the 12th fret is pretty easy to find on most guitars. There's probably a set of double dots on your guitar, either on the front of the fretboard or maybe up at the top where you can see them. Those double dots, that's just an octave higher than your open string. Now there's some patterns on this first string that you're going to see all through the other strings. So we're going to take some time and look at these patterns, and then we'll apply it to the other strings. First thing you need to know is the musical alphabet. The regular alphabet, of course, goes A through Z. The musical alphabet goes A through G, and then starts on another higher set of A through G. So the musical alphabet, say, would be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then another higher A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and so forth. And that musical alphabet never changes. Those notes are always in the same order. The next thing you need to know is half steps and whole steps. On the guitar, a half step is 1 fret away from the original note. So if I'm playing a G here at the 3rd fret, and I want to play a half step higher, I move 1 fret higher, and take that same G, move it a half step lower. Now it's a G flat, or it's a half step lower. We're going to talk about sharps and flats later. So if a half step is 1 fret away, a whole step is 2 frets away. So here's my G again. 2 frets higher than that is a whole step, which would happen to be an A. And then 2 frets lower than that G is an F. And all the stuff is going to apply to every string. Now notice that most of these notes on the first string are 2 frets apart, or they're a whole step apart, with some exceptions. The E and the F are always going to be next to each other. In this case, we have E on the open string, and then 1 fret away would be first string. So there's your F. And your B and your C are always going to be next to each other. So if I got a B at the 7th fret, the C is going to be at the 8th fret. And as I keep saying, this is all going to apply to the other strings. So let's look at that all together again. Now we have E. Half step higher is your F. E and F are always next to each other, so F is 1st fret. 2 frets higher is your G. 2 frets higher is your A. 2 frets higher is your B. B and C are always next to each other, so C is 8th fret. 2 frets higher is a D. And then 2 frets higher than that is another E. Now this video we're only going up to the 12th fret, but you could easily continue that pattern if you wanted. E, and then a half step higher, F, G, etc., going all through those, all through the rest of your guitar. Let's take a look at the other strings now, and we're going to go through it, talking about that same thing, the musical alphabet and your half steps and whole steps. E and F always next to each other. B and C always next to each other. All the other notes 2 frets away. So, second string, we have our open note as a B. So that's where we're starting in the musical alphabet. 1 fret higher than that is a C. And then 2 frets higher is a D. 2 frets higher than that is an E at the 5th fret. E and F are always next to each other, so F is going to be at the 6th fret. 2 frets higher is a G. And with a G, we've reached the end of the musical alphabet, so the next note is going to be an A, 2 frets higher. And then 2 frets higher than that is a B at the 12th fret, an octave higher than your original note, your open B. Third string, we have an open G. And that's the top of the musical alphabet. So we just start over with the musical alphabet. So 2 frets away from that open string is the 2nd fret, and that's your A at the 2nd fret. B at the 4th fret, 2 frets away. B and C always next to each other, so C's at the 5th fret. 2 frets away is your D. 2 frets away is your E. E and F next to each other, so F is 10th fret. And then your other G on that string at the 12th fret. Moving on to the 4th string, this is a D string, so the open string is a D. 2 frets higher than that is an E. E and F next to each other, so F is 3rd fret. 2 frets higher is G at the 5th fret. We start over the musical alphabet, so 2 frets higher than that is your A at the 7th fret. Then we have our B at the 9th fret. B and C always next to each other, so C is going to be 10th fret. And then your octave above the open string, your D at the 12th fret. 5th string is an A string, so your open note starts with the musical alphabet, or at the beginning of the musical alphabet, I should say. From there we have 2nd fret B. B and C next to each other, so C is 3rd fret. 2 frets away is your D at the 5th fret. 2 frets away from that is your E at the 7th fret. 1 fret away from that is your F at the 8th fret. 2 frets away is your G at the 10th fret. And then back at the 12th fret, we have our A again. And then the 6th string, we have actually the same notes as the 1st string. They're just 2 octaves apart. So we'll just go through that really quickly. We have our E, F 1st fret, G, A, B. Next to B is C, D, and then E. So here's that same chart from before with all those natural notes again. It's still a lot to look at, but going through string by string and looking at the musical alphabet and these half steps and whole steps will hopefully take away a little bit of that mystery. Next, let's talk about sharps and flats. We've been playing the natural notes, and again, the natural notes would correspond with, say, the white keys on the piano. There's some space in between those natural notes, and we're going to fill in those gaps with sharps and flats. So let's go back to our example of taking a G and raising it a half step. That is now called a G sharp. If you take that G and lower it a half step or lower it 1 fret, it's a G flat. So a sharp raises a note by a half step and a flat lowers a note by a half step. And you can see here in this example, writing out the notes D sharp, D flat, and D natural, what those signs look like. So the sharp sign looks like that little hashtag. So there's my D, here's my D sharp, D flat, and that third symbol is a natural sign. That's what you would write if you want to be sure the player knows that they're supposed to play your D natural or just your D. And then once you know the natural notes, you can fill in all the gaps from there. So say if I'm playing on the 1st string again, from the open string E up to the 12th fret E, maybe heading upwards, I could fill in the gaps with sharps. So that would look like this: E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B and C next to each other, so C, C sharp, D, D sharp, and E. And then if I wanted to name those notes as flats, maybe I would start at the 12th fret on that 1st string and go E, going the other way, E flat, D, D flat, C, next to the B is C, or next to C is B at the 7th fret, B flat, A flat, G, G flat, F, and then next to F is E. We're not going to go over all the strings this way. That would take quite a while, but let's go over string 2. So we have our B, and then we have our C, because B and C are next to each other. Going upwards, we have C sharp, then D, D sharp, E, F, because E and F are next to each other, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, and B, and then maybe name the flats as we head the other way. So at the 12th fret we have our B, B flat, A flat, G, G flat, F and E next to each other, so E is 5th fret, E flat, D, D flat, C, and then a half step down from C is B. And you can fill in the gaps in the rest of the strings the same way. And when all is said and done, this is what you get. Here's a chart with all of the notes named as sharps. So you see some F sharps in there, G sharps, and so forth. And then you can see another chart with all those notes named as flats as well. Now there's such a thing as enharmonic spelling. You may have noticed that your, say your G flat and your F sharp look really, really similar. So enharmonic is a phenomenon where we have a note that sounds the same, but it can be spelled a couple different ways. And we won't really get into the theory of that. That'd be a whole nother video. Just know that that sort of thing exists. And one other thing, since we're talking about sharps and flats, you may have wondered about, say, if there's a B and there's a C, what about B sharp? So technically, B sharp is a C, and a C flat, here's my C, here's my quote-unquote C flat, is also a B. And then my E sharp, here's my E on the 2nd string, 5th fret, E sharp and F are the same note, and then F flat and E are the same note. That's just one of those quirks of music, and we can't do much about it. You just have to know about that. Now, if we want to put all this to use, what you can do is start playing really, really simple melodies up the neck. And I'm just going to use 3 notes of Mary Had a Little Lamb as an example. What you want to do is find a really simple song, maybe one that only has 3, 4, or 5 notes, and find different places to play it. You may need to use a chart at first. So let's say we're playing Mary Had a Little Lamb in the key of C, which means we're playing E, D, C, D, E, 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 and we're just going to play that much. Again, E, D, C, D, E, E, E. Then what you want to do is find other places where you can play those same 3 notes. So on the 2nd string at the 5th fret, here's an E, here's a D, and here's a C. So you could play that same melody right here. Here's that same E we just started on. Here's another D, and here's a C, so you could also play it here. If you want to play it lower, here's an E right here. Here's a D on the 5th string, 5th fret, and a C on the 5th string, 3rd fret. And you can go up a little higher. Here's another E at the 9th fret on the 3rd string. And here's a D, and here's a C. You could do all that on the same string if you wanted. You could play it right here. So even with these simple melodies, it may take you a while to figure out how to play them elsewhere on the fretboard, but doing a simple work like this would really pay off. In the next video, I'm going to show you 3 memory exercises to help you wrap your head around all of this. In the meantime, if you'd like a free download of the charts in this video, click on the download link in the description below and look for the Learning the Fretboard PDF. Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you got something out of it, and don't forget to subscribe if you'd like to see more of this sort of thing. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time with more guitar tips.